All right, example 2 is next up. I do have to do a rewrite for example 2 because I want there to not be a radical. I'd like it in fractional exponent notation. So my first step is to do a rewrite. And my rewrite is square root of x changes to x to the half. Now I can apply my rule, and the rule is add 1 to the exponent, so it's now 3/2, divide by the new exponent, which is 3/2, plus c. Then I will simplify. Since it's a fraction within this fraction, I'm going to same change reciprocal, so I'll have 2/3 x to the 3/2 plus c. And you can leave that 3/2 just like that. All right, moving on. When you have trig didn't follow the power rule, and so it doesn't follow the antiderivative rule. You just have to think back to our trig rules, and the derivative of sine of x was cosine of x. The derivative of cosine of x was negative sine of x. So if positive sine of x is your derivative that we have, you will change the sign to make it negative cosine of x plus c. All right, here we just have multiple terms in one problem, and you just treat them separately. So the antiderivative of x is x squared over 2. The antiderivative of 2 is 2x. Here I just have a bunch of antiderivatives to do. First would be, and the 3 just goes along with it. So x to the 4 would be x to the 5 over 5. And then 5 x to the 2 becomes x to the 3 over 3. And then x becomes x to the 2 over 2. So again, just applying that rule every time. Example 6, I ran out of room here, so I'm going to give myself a little bit more room. I can't do a problem when you have an x in the numerator and the denominator, so I'm going to have to do quite a bit of rewriting for this one. And my rewrite will be, first, instead of all over x to the square root of x, I'm going to do them separate. So I just kind of break up my fraction so it's 2 separate terms instead of all one. Now I can simplify each term. So I'm going to do my rewrite. Square root of x is x to the half. Dx. All right, and then the rules of exponents are when you have a quotient like this, you can subtract. So 1 minus half is x to the half, and then bring this x to the half to the top and make it x to the negative half. So this was a rewrite, this was a rewrite, this was a rewrite. All I did for all these steps is simplify. Now that it's simplified, I can do the rule. And x to the half would be x to the half plus 1 would be 3/2. Divide by 3/2 is the same as multiply by 2/3. We saw that up in example 2. And then here, the next one would be negative half plus 1, so it would be x to the half. Divide by half is the same as multiply by 2. So I just kind of skipped a simplifying step because I'm out of order, or I'm out of room. But this would be my final answer for number 6.